All right. We've also got this evening Meera Sanyal, one of the best representatives of the corporate world, joining us on this debate. Meera, my first question to you, are you offended by this judgment and the language that it has used?
Well, you know, Barkha, if you look at the actual judgment, it's a very interesting judgment. And I think basically what they have sought to do is to define what is a marriage which is in the nature of a marriage, and they've defined that as a common law marriage. So that is definitely a step forward. And so they've clarified that women who otherwise, you know, in the typical Hindi movie style, when a man goes off and marries one woman in one city and then goes off and marries a woman in another city, this is protecting the other poor woman who was married without knowing that, you know, her husband was already married. So at least it's a step forward there. Now clearly, you know, the points you've mentioned in terms of the use of the word keep, this certainly is very derogatory.
Right. But on the principle of alimony itself, here's the debate in this forum. Is it time for women like us, and I say that just broadly saying those who are afforded a certain set of privileges, is it time for us to look beyond alimony and maintenance?
Well, you know, Barkha, we take a lot of our cues from the West. So I think we've taken some of those sense of what a woman is entitled to from there. Nevertheless, I think the real issue that you're talking about, it goes to us as women, as mothers. How do we bring up our daughters? And I think the message which goes beyond the legal judgment here is, let's bring up our daughters to be self-confident young women who can stand on their own feet. Then they can fight against not just prejudice, but they can also fight against domestic violence, which is what this court case was really after.
Just one last comment from you. If you think a woman earns more than a man or as much, do you believe that even under civil law, women should begin to look beyond alimony? Those women who can.
Well, personally, I don't think so, Barkha. I think, you know, if we're talking about equal rights for women, then we should be consistent in our messaging. And so I'd really go back to saying what we need to focus on is how we bring up our next generation of young women. Let them stand on their own feet. Let them stand as proud women, not necessarily dependent women.
Very good. Proud women, not dependent women. I think that's well said. And did you want to add to that before I take a break? Yes.
Yeah, I actually want to ask sir that...
Is this for Kamal Farooqui? Of course. All the questions, not fair. You've taken all the questions.
In your Islam, a man is allowed to have 4 marriages. So he has no time to have the 5th and 6th. So they don't require it.
We hope. And there's one more gentleman here who wants to add a question, and then Farooqui Saab can respond. Ji.
If the woman does not want to use the institution of marriage and also take the benefits of the institution of marriage, these are two incompatible
things. What if she doesn't have a choice?
Now, let me
What
complete.
if the second or the other woman doesn't have a choice because the man won't marry her?
Beautiful. The thing is, there is some law somewhere in the world, and I'm sure you'll make out, which allows 1, 2, 3 and 4 marriages. So before going in for a live-in marriage, and what the lady there said, well, a legitimate wife, and he will maintain her with all the respect. And even if he leaves the wife, talaq, the Quran says that leave the wife respectably with a gift, and a gift could be 1 crore of rupees.
All right, but the fact of the matter is that, in a sense, how we may expect men to behave sexually and how we expect women to behave sexually has always been approached by a double standard. There are kings who had harems, Hindus and Muslims. Even today there are cultures in the world that permit that. But the fact of the matter is, and this is what I want you, Farooqui Saab, to think about, that whether we like it or not, there are people in multiple relationships. We'll take final comments from our panel after the break. Or not even like marriages, have the rights that are afforded to a marriage. Before we get last comments from our panel, some questions. Yes?
It's high time you realize, you know, that we can't commercialize relationships. And this is what we're doing. The term alimony itself, it's so derogatory, so insulting.
So don't put a money value is what you're saying.
Precisely.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, by using the word keep, don't you think women have been objectified rather than personified?
Okay, that's a thought. And why don't you stand up so we can see you and come here and ask your question.
Okay, seriously, the most important thing that this judgment has created an impact upon me is to actually salute the feminine fraternity in India. And I've actually started refreshing my idea of getting into a marriage this year.
I have to start wrapping up now. One last.
People get into live-in relationships precisely to avoid the legal hassle. So why there is, cases like, maintenance alimony. So you cannot have your cake and eat it too.
Okay, now I am really out of time. So, okay, these have to be the last two questions.
If two people are entering into a relationship called live-in, the sole reason is not that they are bored of the rituals, but they do not want the foundations and duties of a institution like marriage. Then why do they want the rights and the benefits of an institution called marriage?
An interesting question. If you are unconventional, you choose not to be married, why then are you seeking the privileges of a marriage?
The same, I'm further endorsing the same view. It's something like this: you are driving a car without valid driving license, then why you want insurance benefit of all kind of risk?
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, yes.
I think it is an understanding between the man and the woman, well, if they want to really give maintenance for each other.
All right. This has
I object to that statement of women being compared to a car. Now, a woman is not a car, and a man cannot take her for a test drive and cohabitate.
Well said. Well said.
I used the term, there was a lot of discussion what term should be used, cohabitants. And if they are adults enough to get into a relationship, they should please stand up and be responsible for their actions. That's what I need to say.
Well said. All right. Well said. And this young boy gets the last question.
What would you say if they had children? What would be the man's responsibility towards the children?
Farooqi Saab. What if there were children out of wedlock? Does the child have no rights?
Absolutely not, because
the child has no rights. Child has rights. Child has rights. Child has rights.
Listen.
Sir, dil mat todiye.
Sir, mat. As far as the Islam is concerned, Islam recognizes both the marriages and the divorce. As far as the rights of the children are concerned, they are there. It has to be looked after properly. As far as so many sisters have asked about that, what about one marriage, two marriage, three marriage? Yes, Islam in a very specific circumstances. It's not license, and it also tells that if you have got more than one wife, you have to keep absolutely equal relationship with that. Even going to the bed with them, you have to.
So no chota ghar and bada ghar.
No chota ghar, bada ghar.
Okay.
No chota ghar, bada.
Okay.
Both of them have got.
Okay, Kabir. Last thoughts. Yeah.
I'm in a live-in relationship with Parveen. I had a live-in relationship with Pratima before I married her. I had a live-in relationship with Parveen Babi. So I understand the field of live-in relationships rather well. At that time, it was a scandal, the fact that I lived with these people. Today, this relationship has the sanctity of the Supreme Court of India.
So you think it's a good judgment to that extent?
I think it's a good judgment to that extent, and I think people should focus on what we've got from this judgment rather than just jumping on this word keep and trivializing the larger import of this judgment.
Parveen, last thoughts.
I've just been a bit surprised about what the audience has been saying when they're talking about a live-in relationship. I'm hearing people saying, but how can she be equal to a wife? I don't want to be his wife. I'm happy being me. I'm happy being independent. I don't want palimony. I don't want any of that. No, I don't. I'm very clear. I don't want palimony. I've got my education. I can stand on my own 2 feet. I'll start again, but I don't want palimony.
So relationships are different and very individual. Sona Khan, last thought.
A Muslim marriage is a contract. The moment a woman accepts the attentions of a man, allows him to touch her, the contract is performed. So therefore, even a live-in relationship, according to Islamic jurisprudence, would turn into a marriage. Now what happens is this, that it may not be publicly announced. Recognition is not important. So therefore, what probably can make it a little bit of a matter of concern is that there is no loud display in society. Now that is not a religious requirement.
I know
that is a social requirement. Live-in relationship, in my opinion, would turn into an implied marriage contract.
Quick last word, Mr. Bedi. This judgment has not given any rights. With respect, it has taken rights from women. Under the domestic violence law, all women in shared relationships to be decided on each case were given rights. This judgment has taken away rights.
But this judgment has jumped from 125 CRPC on maintenance to define the term relationship in the nature of marriage, which is from another act altogether, which has not been invoked in this case.
It's mixed up issues
and it has shrunk the definition. It has shrunk the definition to the detriment of women and imposed monogamy and imposed living together. relationships in the nature of marriage need not be 24/7 living together. They are very diverse.
And they brought that
yeah,
to their
and that is scary and something to worry about, not celebrate.
I don't think the judgment has taken away any rights. It is the first judgment of the Supreme Court which gives maintenance rights to live-in partners who are not married. So it is a progressive judgment. Now, Madhu's point that some women do not get maintenance as per this judgment is well taken. But the point is, then amend the law. Permit bigamy.
Well, I think as somebody suggested, maybe you need a different set of laws for cohabitation. Khushboo, last
but you already...
I think we all have been talking about relationships under law. We're scrutinizing them. I think it's more of how they feel for each other. Dil ka mamla bhi hota hai. It's not only about palimony or alimony is what we keep talking about. I have had a live-in relationship with my husband for 6 years before I got married, and not even once I would have had a thought, if this relationship doesn't work out, how much my man is going to pay me. And you have been, like all of us have been discussing about my state chief minister, Mr. Karunanidhi, having 2 wives. But let me tell you, he gives equal respect to both the women. People in Tamil Nadu recognize both of them as the first ladies of the state.
Fact probably is that there is no one set of rules that applies. So that,
as everyone said, the man gives the rights to the woman. And I say, who is man to give me rights? I'm born with my rights.
And I guess let's end with the thought that there are relationships and then there are relationships and no one set of rules actually applies. And if anything, the number of emotions evoked by this judgment is a suggestion, even if we don't agree on many things, that perhaps it needs another look, or definitely needs another look. Jayanta looking happy with me, but that's my conclusion. We'll end it there. Thank you very much.